Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle. As you should know by now, I've got kind of a rotation when it comes to doing these reviews.
This means that normally today would be a cartoon review.
But I'm gonna have to push that back a week.
I first have to talk about Major Altitude, because he's featured in the cartoon I want to review, and his presence would otherwise derail the whole thing. So, meet Major Altitude. His first figure was released in 1991 with no original body parts. Yeah, it's another Frankenstein figure made up of body parts from previous figures. Most notably, his torso is from the Star Viper, and his head is from our old pal Wildcard. The outfit basically only has two colors, boring green and ugly neon green. Yeah, the 90s has arrived with their neon colors. Let's just say I'm underwhelmed.
His accessories do little to improve my opinion.
There's a generic gun that was recolored from an older figure, and then there's the neon green helmet, also a recolor. It's the same mold as Wildcard's, only in an uglier color. And, you know, if these two guys ever run into each other, they're both gonna be pretty freaked out, right? Then again, with so many figures sharing head sculpts, it's probably just another day at the office at GI Clone headquarters. Major Altitude was a vehicle driver. He is yet another guy that came with a recolored battlecopter, like the Interrogator and the Heliviper. I think I've said enough about those things in previous reviews. Overall, I'd call this figure dull, but the bright green detailing upgrades this toy to annoying.
Still, could be worse.
Well, meet worse. This second version of the character was released in 1993, and it's a simple recolor of the first. I will say I like the blue a whole lot better than the green. It's an improvement. The secondary color, that I'm gonna call light red, not orange, is not really an improvement. It's too bright against the dark blue of the suit.
But the worst is yet to come. You see, he has a helmet.
A bright neon orange helmet.
I believe I've made my feelings about this sort of thing abundantly clear.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
Yeah.
This figure was part of a mail-in set, along with that god-awful yellow Interrogator. Both battlecopter pilots that didn't come with their damn battlecopters. The mail-in set was just the figures. And those were the only two toys of Major Altitude ever released. They are unimpressive and boring.
But what about the character? Well, let's take a look at the file cards.
The first thing I have to talk about is his rank. Anybody wanna guess what rank Major Altitude has? Anybody? If you said Major, you would be logical and observant.
You would also be wrong.
He is in fact a warrant officer, a rank between enlisted and officer. So less than a major. Very, very much less. Major, in this case, is just another word for high, referring to an altitude, and is simply part of his codename. Why they didn't just call him High Altitude, I dunno. And I especially don't understand why they didn't just give him the rank of Major to match anyway. G.I. Joe already has about 4, including Major Storm, whose rank is part of his codename. I bet this guy chose the codename just to get lieutenants and captains to accidentally salute him. Hilarious.
Though impersonating an officer while you yourself are in the military can get you anything from 6 months to 3 years in jail, depending on the circumstances.
Anyway, about his character itself. At 11 years old, he said he wanted to join the elite Joe team. Okay, the Joe team was supposed to be top secret, so how did a kid find out about them? Did he watch the cartoon or something? Putting that aside, I did the math, and yes, if he found out about the Joes in 1982, that gives him plenty of time to become a member by 1991. In fact, the file card says that 8 years passed before he got his orders to join the team, meaning he found out about them in 82 or 83. The only problem I have with that is his head sculpt. Like I mentioned, they reused Wildcard's head, who, as we've discussed and all agreed, looks like your friend's dad, meaning he looks too old to be 19 as the card suggests. The card goes on to say he's not the smartest or the strongest Joe by any means, but they do heap some praise on him by saying he's very determined.
This is actually pretty nice to see. For once, a character isn't some super duper elite of the elite soldier, he's just a regular guy.
Come to think of it, this whole card reads like a self-insertion character for a kid. Work hard, tell your parents you want to join the Joes, and one day you will. That's sorta weird, because there already is a Joe who is literally a self-insert character for kids. The Steel Brigade guy. It's literally you as a member of the Joes. I couldn't find any evidence of the guy showing up in the comic book, though I understand he did get a token appearance in a later book, so there's nothing to say here really. He did, however, show up in the cartoon. In the Deke series, of course.
Oh, joy!
And this is the reason why the cartoon review got pushed back a week. Strangely enough, he first shows up using a hang glider, not his battlecopter. He even mentions this.
I love flying my battlecopter, but a day like this was tailor-made for Air Commando gliders.
Because why advertise just one toy when you can advertise two at the same time?
And like so often in Deke, that's his function really. Show up a couple of times to promote the toy, then disappear. There are two noteworthy things though. Other characters keep calling him Major, adding to the confusion over his rank.
Major, I know it's fun.
Also, he's one of the only people in the entire cartoon series who doesn't have a parachute when he has to abandon his flying machine. In a show where even the damn dog gets a parachute, this expert aviator elects to plummet to his death. Well, plummet to his embarrassment anyway, as he ends up safe, albeit covered in tomato paste.
And that pretty much was Major Altitude.
Boring toys, confusing codename, and bland self-insertion character. Oh, and he shouldn't be confused with Altitude, a different Joe we already covered on the show. Altitude came out the year before this guy, so I have to wonder what his reaction was. I mean, do you see this here happening anywhere else? I'm Captain America, here to join the Avengers. I'm Major America, here to join the Avengers. Dude, what the hell?
Next time, we'll get to see Major Altitude in action some more. See you later, everybody.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein.